maintenance and servicing, the operators must have read and understood the manual, paying special attention to the chapter safety precautions. Non-observance of the above means a threat to life and limb. The separator works reliably, provided that it's operated and maintained in accordance with the operating instructions. Attention! Do not loosen any part of the separator before the bowl has come to a standstill. Use only genuine spare parts from Westfalia Separator. Disconnect the water feed line. Unscrew the handle connection piece, left-hand thread, while holding the centripetal pump with the wrench. Unscrew the hex head screws with washers. Hinge up the hood. The shackle must register correctly, as otherwise there's a risk of injury. Unscrew the lock ring with the hook wrench, left-hand thread, and remove it. Screw the handle connection piece into the centripetal pump, left-hand thread. Lift off the complete centripetal pump, the centripetal pump chamber, and the spacer ring. Insert the pressure piece in the spacer ring. Pull off the spacer ring with fitted gaskets with the aid of a commercial puller. Remove the centripetal pump chamber cover, the sensing liquid pump with gaskets, the centripetal pump chamber cover with gasket, and the centripetal pump with gasket. Unscrew the spindle screw left-hand thread with fitted gasket using a socket wrench and commercially available ratchet, and remove it. Force the bowl at least 10 mm off the cone of the spindle with the aid of the eye bolt and lift it out of the frame using the hoist. Place a cloth over the spindle. When the bowl has been removed, no oil must spill onto the drive belt via the spindle. First, unscrew the eye bolt. Then, mount the plate and screw the eye bolt into the bowl bottom again. Compress the disc stack. Unscrew the two threaded pins out of the bowl lock ring with a screwdriver. Bolt the pin spanner to the bowl lock ring. Make sure that the O mark is not covered by the ring spanner. Firmly tighten the fastening screws of the pin spanner. Strike open the bowl lock ring with a mallet, left-hand thread. Lift off the bowl lock ring with the pin spanner. Unscrew the eye bolt from the bowl bottom. Remove the plate. Position the pressure piece on the distributor, mount the plate and bolt tight with the lock ring, left-hand thread. Force off the bowl top with the aid of the hex head screw. Lift off the bowl top with fitted gaskets by hand. Remove the separating disc. Lift out the distributor together with the disc stack. Screw the spindle screw in the bowl bottom. Screw the eye bolt into the bell-shaped piece. Screw the bell-shaped piece with eye bolt into the thread of the sliding piston. Force off the sliding piston with the aid of the eye bolt. Remove the sliding piston together with bell-shaped piece and eye bolt. Unscrew the 4 Allen screws holding the closing chamber bottom and the bowl bottom together. Screw the eye bolt into the bell-shaped piece. Then screw the bell-shaped piece into the thread of the annular piston. Force off the annular piston and closing chamber with the aid of the eye bolt. Remove the annular piston and the closing chamber bottom with fitted gaskets with the aid of the bell-shaped piece and eye bolt. Take the gasket out of the annular piston. Drive apart the annular piston and the closing chamber bottom using the mallet. Turn the bowl through 180 degrees and unscrew the Allen screws from the water chamber bottom. Force off the water chamber bottom using the screwdriver and remove it together with the gasket. Take out the gasket. Grease and insert the gasket in the groove of the water chamber bottom. Place the water chamber bottom on the bowl bottom. The O marks must be aligned. Screw in the 4 Allen screws holding the water chamber bottom and the bowl bottom together tight. The torque is 15 Newton meters. Grease and insert the gasket in the groove in the bowl bottom. Take the gasket out of the annular piston. Replace the polyamide gasket only when it is damaged. Drill 2 2mm holes into the polyamide gasket. Use 2 screws to press the old polyamide gasket out of the guide and lever it out bit by bit with a screwdriver. Attention! The groove of the annular piston must not get damaged. Clean and dry the groove thoroughly. Heat the gasket in water at approximately 80 degrees centigrade for 5 minutes. Then, dry the gasket and press it lightly into the groove. Use a hard plastic mandrel to drive the polyamide gasket into the groove at 4 diametrically opposite points. Then, pull the gasket bit by bit into the groove with the vise. Use smooth copper jaws only. Drive the gasket into the groove so that the sealing surface of the gasket doesn't protrude by more than 0.5 mm from the surface of the annular piston. By carrying out several measurements around the entire circumference of the annular piston, check that the polyamide gasket is seated parallel in the groove. The difference may be a maximum of plus or minus 0.05 mm. Fit the gasket in the annular piston. Grease the guide surfaces as specified in the lubrication schedule. Insert the gaskets in the closing chamber bottom. Grease the guide surfaces as specified in the lubrication schedule. Fit the closing chamber bottom in the annular piston. Drive the closing chamber bottom downwards using light blows with a mallet. Insert the spindle screw. Install the annular piston and closing chamber bottom together in the bowl bottom. The O marks must be aligned. Screw the 2 metric 8x120 hex head screws with wing nut and pipe diametrically opposite each other into the bowl bottom. Press the annular piston and closing chamber bottom into the bowl bottom with the aid of the wing nuts. Unscrew the hex head screws with wing nut and pipe out of the bowl bottom. Screw in the 4 Allen screws holding the closing chamber bottom and the bowl bottom together and tighten firmly. The torque is 15 Newton meters. Remove the gasket from the sliding piston. Insert the gasket in the groove of the sliding piston. Grease the guide surfaces as specified in the lubrication schedule. Screw the bell-shaped piece with eye bolt into the thread of the sliding piston. Place the sliding piston with bell-shaped piece and eye bolt into the bowl bottom. Lower the sliding piston by turning the eye bolt counterclockwise. Drive the sliding piston onto the seat of the bowl bottom by means of light hammer blows. Unscrew the eye bolt and bell-shaped piece. Unscrew the spindle screw. Stack the disc stack on the distributor neck. Install the distributor together with the disc stack. Pay attention to correct positioning. The O marks must be aligned. Mount the separating disc. Pay attention to correct positioning. Replace the polyamide gasket only when it's damaged. Drive the gasket out of the groove in the bowl top by inserting a pin punch alternately in the holes provided. Heat the gasket in water at approximately 80 degrees centigrade for 5 minutes. Wipe the gasket dry. Fit the gasket into the clean groove of the bowl top with the narrow side facing the bowl top. Apply a hard plastic mandrel and hammer the gasket evenly into the groove at 4 opposite points. Then pull the gasket bit by bit into the groove with the vise. Use smooth copper jaws only. Drive the gasket into the groove so that the sealing surface of the gasket doesn't protrude by more than 0.5 millimeters from the surface of the bowl top. Clean the grooves for the gaskets in the bowl top thoroughly. Check the gaskets and replace if damaged and fit them. Place on the bowl top by hand. Pay attention to correct positioning. The O marks must be aligned. Mount the plate and screw the eye bolt into the bowl bottom. Compress the disc stack. To avoid seizing of the threads, carefully clean, wipe dry and grease the threads and guide surfaces of the bowl bottom and lock ring, as well as the bearing surfaces on the bowl top and lock ring. Screw the lock ring by hand into the bowl bottom, left-hand thread. Compress the disc stack while at the same time screwing in the bowl lock ring with the pin spanner. Use a mallet to hammer tight the bowl lock ring. The O marks must be aligned. Attention, a loose lock ring can endanger life. Unscrew the eye bolt from the bowl bottom and remove the plate. Unscrew the pin spanner. Screw in the 2 threaded pins using a screwdriver. Clean and wipe dry the spindle cone with a suitable cloth. Do not grease the conical parts. Clean the bowl hub with a suitable cloth. Do not grease the bowl hub. Screw the eye bolt into the bowl bottom. Carefully place the bowl using eye bolt and hoist onto the spindle cone. Unscrew the eye bolt from the bowl bottom. Screw in the spindle screw, left-hand thread, with fitted gasket. Tighten the spindle screw. The torque is 50 Newton meters. Attention! A loose spindle screw can endanger life. Install the centripetal pump. Insert the gasket in the groove of the centripetal pump. Lightly grease threads and contact surfaces of the centripetal pump. Mount the centripetal pump chamber cover. Pay attention to correct positioning. Insert the gasket in the groove of the centripetal pump chamber cover. Install the sensing liquid pump. Insert the gaskets in the grooves in the sensing liquid pump. Grease the guide surfaces. Mount the centripetal pump chamber cover. Fit the spacer ring. Insert the gaskets in the spacer ring. Grease the guide surfaces of the centripetal pump as specified in the lubrication schedule. Grease the threads on the bowl top and lock ring as specified in the lubrication schedule. Screw tight the lock ring using the hook wrench, left-hand thread. Attention! A loose lock ring can endanger life. Clean and grease the gasket groove in the upper section of the frame. Take special care when adjusting the height of the bowl and centripetal pump for reasons of operating safety. The bowl height must not be adjusted on this separator. The bowl height may only be measured with fitted drive belt. The control dimension has a tolerance of 27 plus or minus 2 millimeters between the upper edge of the bowl lock ring and the upper section of the frame. Close the hood. Check. Is the hood correctly seated on the frame rim? Bolt tight the hood by means of the hex head screws. Fit the handle connection piece with fitted gaskets in the centripetal pump. Hold the centripetal pump with the wrench. Screw the handle connection piece into the centripetal pump as far as it'll go, left-hand thread. Hold the handle connection piece and turn the socket wrench until the handle connection piece is raised slightly from the hood, approximately 0.5 millimeters. Raise the handle connection piece to its maximum. The axial play is 4 to 6 millimeters. Connect the water feed line. Before restarting the separator, be sure to refer to the instructions in the chapter Before Startup in the instruction.